Blog Talk Radio.
Tonight on Salamone, it's an all super fan panel dedicated to Doctor Who, a show that's been a favorite of mine since I was a kid watching Tom Baker on PBS. We've got some great guests joining me tonight: John Mark Johnson, Dale Satterley,
hello there,
Anna Brawley,
hey,
friend of the show Quincy Worthington. We're going to talk about the new season of Doctor Who, the new Doctor, and our hopes for the upcoming series. I think it should be fun. I appreciate you tuning in, and I hope you enjoy. Hey, thanks for joining us tonight for our special Doctor Who episode. We've got a big panel in only a half hour, so I'm going to get right to it and introduce our guests. First up, John Mark Johnson is a longtime friend, a talented musician. You should check out his band Smack Dab. He's a fan of both the classic and modern era of the Doctor, and one of my favorite people to wax philosophical on any topic with. First off, let's welcome John. Hi, John.
hey, Mike. Thanks for having me, man.
Thanks for being here. Next up is Anna Brawley, is a devoted fan to the Doctor, I believe since the reboot, and a dear friend who was the one who peer pressured me into giving the reboot a chance because I was afraid of it soiling my childhood memories, which it did not. So this conversation is probably all her fault, but hi, Anna, welcome.
You're welcome. Hi, Michael. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for being here. Next up, Dale Satterley is a good friend who's had the great disservice of having to recap the Doctor episodes with me probably the last 5 years. A really cool guy, a very smart man who's very scientifically minded. As a gentleman, I think is an ideal guest for a panel like this. The man knows his time travel and his doctors. But yeah, thanks for being here, Dale.
Hey, thanks for the invite, man. I'm glad to be here.
And finally, friend of the show, Quincy Worthington, destined to be our show's Regis, is another super fan of the modern era, and as a theologian, an ideal guest, since the new season is already asking a lot of morality and mortality questions. Let's welcome Q. Hi, Quincy.
Hello, how are you?
I'm pretty well. Thanks for being here. And then let's just jump right into Doctor Who. The first impressions of the new season. We've got a new Doctor. We're 2 episodes in to let Capaldi kind of settle into the role. Warning to our listeners, there may be spoilers, sweetie. Let's start with John. John, does Capaldi's Doctor remind you of any of the past incarnations?
It's hard to really say because I didn't spend much time with any of the older Doctors except for Baker. But as far as the reboot, not at all. He's so his affect, everything about him, the way he delivers his lines is so different from anything else that I've seen in the reboot. I'm really kind of liking it.
For me, I'm seeing a little of Baker in there, and if anybody else wants to jump in on this, but I'm also, from what I've seen of Pertwee, like the action star Doctor, I feel like some of that attitude is in there. But
yeah, I agree with that. There's a bit of the same, like some of the intensity when Tom Baker, he would have something serious to talk about. That he's got that same kind of vibe, and yeah, there's a lot of sci-fi action from the Pertwee years that's kind of going on in this, especially with the second episode. A lot of gunfights and blasting of Daleks and stuff like that. So definitely a throwback, at least to the intensity, and not so relying upon what they look like to attract anybody to them. So
yeah, and he's got that madman look in his eyes, the way that Baker had. Dale, are you liking the new Doctor yet? I haven't had a chance to ask you that off microphone.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think he's great. He's got a little, it's definitely relying on his personality a lot more. There's a lot more little one-liners that he's sticking in there. He's just a totally different Doctor than what we've been seeing on the reboot series.
Anna, as the woman on the panel, I've got to ask you separately from the fellas here. So Tennant, he was like the heartthrob doctor, and then Matt Smith was our lovable clown. As the lady on the panel, what's your take on this new, older, former punk rocker, Scottish doctor?
Oh, God, I love that he's Scottish. I love that so much. I think he pulls it off better than any of us. I really do. No, I like him a lot. He actually reminds me a little bit of Eccleston, just with the brilliant, the madman's actually coming back out. You know, like you said, David Tennant kind of did the whole sexy thing, and Matt Smith with a big goofball. You know, he's bringing like you said, he's bringing the intensity back.
In the first episode of the season, we see the villain die and then go to paradise to be greeted by the mysterious Missy. And then this episode, someone dies, and Missy welcomes them by name to heaven. Quincy, you're up. What are your theories on Missy and heaven?
I don't know. I feel like there's going to be more to that than meets the eyes. You know, I have a hard time believing that it's going to be like a literal heaven. And I'm curious to see where they go with it, because the doctor right now is really kind of, I mean, one, his age was brought up in the first episode, I believe, and with his whole struggling with, am I good? Have I done good? How do I, you know, I mean, he says something like, I've made a lot of mistakes and now it's time to fix them, or something like that towards the end of the first episode. So I feel like at some point these storylines are going to crash together in a really interesting way.
Dale, do you have any theories on what's going on with Missy and the afterlife or whatever it is?
Well, I'm pretty sure it's not going to be any afterlife kind of thing. I think there's some sort of alternate doctor kind of thing going on, like some sort of old enemy coming back, or maybe like you know, just somebody kind of you know, coming in from the outside that he hasn't seen in a long time, I guess.
I'm kind of hoping for that, for an old school callback. John, do you have any theories on this one?
I'm feeling pretty much the same way as you guys are. I think it's I kind of have a feeling it kind of reminds me of The Silence and the Doctor's, you know, tribulations with that, and you know, that there's something much larger going on that we're going to find out. We're going to find out later, but I think it's, I don't think it's by any means an afterlife sort of thing. I think it's probably a nemesis more than it would be a help. Or, you know, I know some people have even speculated it might have something to do with River. I highly doubt it. I think it's probably more likely going to be a nemesis.
Yeah, the theories online that seem to be getting the most. The theories online that seem to be getting the most attention are something to do with River's song. I'm probably going to mispronounce this, but the Valerian, which was like an evil incarnation of the Doctor. Or my favorite is that she's the master in female form, the mistress, Missy. I like that just because everybody wanted the Doctor to be a woman, and it'd be cool if his nemesis was. Speaking of women, Anna, what's your take on this mysterious new villain?
That's a really good theory, actually. I hadn't even thought of that one yet, but I'm definitely on with everybody else here thinking that it's not going to be anything good. You know, he did mention, like, where are they taking the bodies? You know, I realize that they got that tied into this episode, but I've noticed that in a couple of the other theories. When you're leading up to that huge finale there's always a few little things dipped in. I don't know if maybe that's just my interpretation or I don't know, but I do like your theory about the master being Missy. But didn't they already cast him as like a male actor? I want to say.
Oh, I haven't seen that they've cast a master. The quote I saw for Moffat was that we would not see the master, but I think that it would be a loophole if it was the mistress, because he's pretty well known to throw red herrings around.
That would be cool.
That would be amazing.
They're also quite, they're also quite known for callbacks. I mean, we saw callbacks in the first episode to the girl in the fireplace. The Dalek one, I couldn't even keep up with stuff that seemed familiar. I had to do a lot of Googling. So I'm sure you're all right about it going to be something that goes throughout the whole series that we can look forward to. there was another character who seemed, I think, mysterious as well when they kind of introduced what's potentially a new love interest for Clara, the teacher, Mr. Pink, who also was a soldier. And we meet him in an episode where the doctor is kind of telling us not to trust soldiers all the way through. I'm looking for any theories on this. Dale, you got anything?
Well, the kids in his class asked him, a few kind of sensitive questions about his past in the military, and so I think it was something about shooting somebody that was unarmed or a civilian or something like that. So I think that's going to come up in an episode here soon. We'll find out a little bit about his history and probably further relationship along between him and Clara, since she's no longer the girlfriend, as it were. So hopefully that'll come up in another episode. But yeah, I'm excited to find out what's going on there, definitely.
But
John, do you have any thoughts on that?
he's
Quincy? Go ahead, Quincy.
Yeah, I was going to say, he's asking himself, I mean, it seems like he's struggling with the same thing that the doctor is. So their stories almost paralleled throughout this, with being a soldier and him saying, I had to do what I had to do, and that's kind of what the doctor's struggling with is, am I a good man or am I a person who's forced to get the job done and kill the monsters?
Well, I wish I could recall the name of the actress who played the soldier working to the side of the doctor. Anna and I were talking about this yesterday, that I really like her in a show called Fresh Meat, which is a comedy. She plays kind of like a punk rock girl. But when she wants to go whiz, she wants to be a companion. He's like, well, if only you weren't a soldier, which makes me think if there is some resolution, maybe she could be back on later in the series. John, do you have any thoughts on Mr. Pink?
I actually more thoughts on what you were talking about with the soldier, the female soldier that wanted to go with him. Her name is Blue. Her name was Blue. She lost her brother at the very beginning of the episode. I don't ever remember seeing her brother's face when they were in the ship. And I'm kind of curious. I mean, all these guys can get, and I mean, with the ideas, I mean, you can start throwing away all kinds of ideas about parallel universes and all kinds of stuff. I think it'd be really difficult to not think there'd be something between the Pink and Blue this early in this particular series. I think there's got to be some sort of connection.
That's a great observation. I totally missed that, and you're right. I don't think we see the brother because the doctor kind of says something about putting a time bubble around Blue, and he grabs her, and we never really see that. Anna, I think you were about to say something.
Yeah, no, that's exactly what my first thought was when they actually were talking about it, when Clara was like, well, I am a school teacher. She asked her what her name was. She said, my name's Journey Blue. They went on this whole thing about her brother. I'm like, that's too big of a coincidence, I think. And I'm kind of wondering about him just as, like someone else mentioned, he is running a pretty parallel storyline to the doctor. So, I mean, it's that part of her attraction. She's obviously really smitten already. So I think it's going to be a boyfriend situation. I'm also wondering if he's actually going to go on the TARDIS or not. Lots of questions.
I guess I was kind of hoping that Pink would somehow be a likable character turned nemesis, but it's so early to look into that yet. So we're about that halfway point of the show, and I'd really like to go around and kind of talk about what everyone's looking for out of this season, or at least what you kind of hope to see out of at least the storylines we've talked about, or just any new season of Doctor Who coming on, and what you're excited to hope for. So let me start this time with Anna.
I don't know. I've heard a bunch of rumors and everything, so I'm trying to kind of base my hopes around not the rumors, if that makes sense. Like Clara leaving. I mean, I love her, and I don't really want to see her go, but yet I think she can be explained a lot better. There's still a lot of mystery to her. As far as I'm concerned, I'm not as in love with her as I was with Amy at this point, or even Martha. Martha only lasted one season, but I don't know. The companions for me are kind of a big thing, so I really want to see her story played out a lot more.
I agree with that. I mean, the companions are crucial to how we interpret the Doctor, and their, I don't know if you can use this phrase with an alien, but their humanity is how they react to their companions in the different situations. Dale, any thoughts about what you'd like to see in this next season?
Well, continuing on with that thought, he in the second episode, she does say that she is the Doctor's carer, as in she cares for, or where he doesn't have to. But yeah, I'd like to see her story wrap up.
So do I,
because she is the impossible girl after all. So there's the two ads in the newspaper that was a back-to-back. Come meet me at this coffee shop or restaurant or whatever it is. So I think that has to deal with the whole Missy thing, and then the woman in the flower shop, who she mentioned earlier. So that's going to be all tied up in together, I think. And all in all, I'd like to see a little bit more action this season, and we've already seen that. So we got the Daleks out of the way, so maybe we'll have some other cool Sontaran thing. Or maybe, classic Cybermen come back, something like that. I'm just really excited about this season because, it's a new Doctor. We got a whole lot of expectations, and, I think they're going to fulfill them. I have no reason to believe not to. So
it's exciting when you get a new Doctor. There's always that, am I going to like this guy? But it's exciting because you get to kind of re-see the whole universe, and it's one of the joys that's built into that formula of keeping it on the air through regeneration. I want to throw in that I did see a still with Capaldi standing next to Missy with Cybermen behind them. So I think you're going to get your wish. John, do you have anything you want to say about what you're hoping to see from the rest of this series?
I'm just repeating again. I'm a huge Cyberman fan. I always have been. So I just named a drink a Cyberman at Forte the other night. So I'm hoping we get to. I'm really hoping for it to be. I like the real head trip and the real the intellectual part of the show, where the story where it's just more of a mind game than there is actual tangible action on screen. But I'd like to see a little bit more action in this particular season. I think that's just me personally. But I think they're setting it up. It seems like with Missy and with Mr. Pink and all this. The way they're setting up, seems like they're setting up so many characters so quickly that are going to that I think will carry on through the season, that I think there'll be plenty of room for that, so they'll have room for action in there, rather than it just being the Doctor, a companion, and then, each episode bring in new characters and have to establish those characters like that. They'll have characters that they can keep going ahead and referencing as you move through. I think it'll just kind of spreads your attention out a little bit and kind of broadens the entire story. And so I'm hoping they continue doing that.
Yeah, it reminds me of how they set up the silence when Matt Smith and Amy and Rory are in America. There was just a lot of character introduction, and it was action-packed, and it kept me glued throughout the rest of that series because I couldn't wait to see what this was all about.
Yeah.
I think, Quincy, you're the only one we haven't heard on this topic. What are you looking for out of this season?
Well, for me, it goes right back to the first question you asked. I miss Eccleston. He was my favorite Doctor. And so, I'm looking for a Doctor that you like, but you wouldn't want to mess with. And I think they've already got that with this Doctor. And I've been really happy with the episodes kind of asking the deep questions. And I think as long as it's going on the direction it's going now, I'm going to be thrilled. I'm trying not to go into it with any expectations, but part of the fun of this show is just going along on the ride with them. So I'm excited for it. I really am.
Yeah, I think probably all of us feel that way. As whatever they do, we're going to be tuned in and excited for it. But it's kind of fun to think about the possibilities and what you'd want to see. I know for me, I'd really love some classic comeback, just because as the series reboot's been going on, I've been familiarizing myself with doctors I didn't grow up on. I knew Baker pretty well, and just a little bit of Davison after that. So I've been watching old stuff, and there's a Time Lord that was kind of a Loki-like nemesis to the Doctor by the name of the Meddling Monk, who didn't die. They just kind of abandoned him on this planet somewhere. I'd love a callback like that, a non-master nemesis Time Lord that's maybe a little bit more fun than evil. I don't know. That's probably a long shot, though. Well,
hey, that would be awesome.
See, one more. Yeah, it's just classic throwbacks. I really enjoy that kind of stuff. I played around with the music for this special podcast, and that makes me think of maybe we should see if anybody's got thoughts on the new theme song. It was actually found by Moffat on YouTube. It was a fan who composed the new theme song for the new intro. Any love or hate for the new intro out there?
Love. Lots of love.
Oh, yep, love it.
Awesome.
I'm pretty neutral about it. The openings have been kind of I don't know, the same to me lately. Not that they're ever really different. It's always going down a time tunnel and whatnot. But yeah, I mean it's pretty good. It's not bad. But I have heard some people that don't like it. I'm not sure why. I guess it's all up in the air. So yeah, I like it.
I'm only kind of like the classical. Right. Well, most of us have. So I rewatched the episodes each twice. I kind of like this kind of a classical feel. I feel it could use some low end, but that's pretty nitpicky on my part.
I just love being a musician. I just love that a fan that it's a fan's piece that he did. I think that's my favorite part of it. More than
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
that's a really cool point. But yeah, also on your point, Mike. Yeah, it does need a little bit more low end. I think there's not the driving beat that you usually get with the Doctor Who. But then again, that might be another callback to the old just feedback loop that they had before.
True. Hey, that's a good point. As the early stuff didn't have that same like low and driving force. So maybe we've just become accustomed to that. Well, as we kind of referred to throughout the podcast here, Clara, it's been announced well, I guess they haven't really announced that she's leaving, but it looks like she's leaving is what I've seen.
Yeah.
Do you think that we really saw all of her story up to the 50th with her interaction with every single Doctor, which I had trouble with how she didn't relate to this, would have been her 13th incarnation that she's dealt with in the first episode, or is Clara pretty fleshed out? Do we kind of see her become the Dalek? Where are we with, if we had to say goodbye to her in the next few episodes, with Clara Oswald? Did we get what we needed from that companion?
Honestly, I thought with the Bells of St. John, I thought she was going to be a super quick, maybe one season. I thought she was going to be one of those companions, just kind of like a filler until they get the next really big storyline one. I just kind of felt like she used it up. But now that they've kept her on, I really want to know more. So, I mean, the speculation, I guess, is that she's leaving at Christmas, which, I mean, if she's going to leave at Christmas, that's going to be the last time. That's when that's so full. But then they'd have to introduce another companion to us, or are they working on doing that now? I don't know. That's a rabbit hole that my thoughts go down.
Yeah, it's early to tell. Anything we speculate here is exactly that, speculation. But anybody else have thoughts or theories?
I think I honestly did the first episode, episode 1. It was just her, her just absolute disdain for the Doctor's newest incarnation. It started to make me mad. I was watching.
Agreed.
I started getting angrier and angrier. Which I'm assuming. I mean, they know what they're doing right in the show. I'm assuming they knew that was what they were doing to their audience, but maybe not. I mean, I got to the point where I at this point I say I take her or leave her, but I think there's probably more to her story that I probably should know.
I think they were writing her in that episode, at least I hope, to try and be the audience. And we have to adjust to a new doctor. It just, for me, didn't make sense to the story we just saw her in. Somebody was trying to say something before, and I cut you off, so feel free to jump in. Was it Dale, maybe?
I don't think so, no.
No. Quincy, was it you?
I think I should be the new companion.
I think it's unanimous.
I'm not as attractive as her, but
I would say a majority of them don't survive. So
yeah, good
it's
point.
hard to consider that.
So what a way to go. I mean,
I'd be like Watson as Sherlock. It'd be great.
That might be a good place to wrap this up on. Let's go around the table quickly and talk about favorite companions. I guess I'm old school enough to think that it's probably Sarah Jane, but man, I loved Amy.
I'm with you on that one, brother.
Well, yeah, then let's go to Dale first. Are you saying Amy Pond as well?
No, Sarah Jane. I agree with you on Sarah Jane. I don't know. She's my favorite one. She's had at least. Amy Pond did have some of her spunkiness and whatever, but just the classic feel of the old Doctor Who episodes, nostalgia and everything like that for me. Just growing up, definitely Sarah Jane, top of my list.
Anna, who's your favorite companion?
Oh my God, Rose. Always has been. I got introduced with her, and she's just kind of really stuck with me. So all of her compassion.
I had you pegged as a Captain Jack. I was wrong.
Oh, man.
Captain Jack.
Oh, Captain Jack.
Quincy, you're another kind of new to the reboot. Who's your favorite companion?
Well, Rose has grown on me, but, since I'm going to be the next companion, I'm going to go with me.
Well, good luck with that.
John, how about you? Who's your favorite of the companion?
Mine was always Rose until I went back and I watched all these reboot episodes because I had nothing to do all summer really. So on Martha, because Martha, she's a roughneck. She's just a roughneck. I love her. She just takes care of business. I love it.
I don't know how you can like her more than Rose, though. I don't understand that.
It's not so much I like her more than Rose. I think I just had something about her just really grew on me as I rewatched. I love Rose. I mean, Rose is like, if I had a girlfriend, it'd be Rose. But but Martha, if I was just running and having trouble, like out running around taking on the universe, I might want Martha just because she's a roughneck.
That's
I like
Donna. Love Donna.
She was definitely a comedic foil. Donna was.
Oh yeah.
Well, that's pretty much what we have time for today. So let me again thank everybody for joining me for this conversation. John, Anna, Dale, Quincy, I'm grateful for your time, and I always love talking about this nerdy stuff with all of you. So that's our show. Thanks for tuning in. Giant thanks to all of our guests. Tune in next week. The episode is going to be titled Michael Salamone Has Lost His Mind, and you can find out what the heck that's all about. Until then, go enjoy a Jelly Baby and Geronimo, and cheers.
LZ.